I'm going to quickly go over the practice, Unit 1 practice test for those of you who are still having a hard time um, knowing what to do. And this is for the honor students, this is only 20 question. This is basically for my regular students, my regular geometry class. They have a review of 20 questions, but the honors have the 30 question one. So we're just going to base it on the 20 question. I'm not going to completely solve it, but I'm just going to go over some of the key point that you need to know for each of the problems. So in this case, if PR is given to be 40, what are PQ and QR? So I know from P to Q is given to be 5x minus 2. From Q to R is given to be x plus 12. The whole thing is given to be 40. Because of the PR is given to be 40, the way I would set up this problem is 5x minus 2 plus x plus 12 equals to 40. And one thing that you guys are having a lot of problem is solving this. So if you know how to set this equation up, that means you know what to do with the geometry concept. The rest comes from your algebra knowledge. So you combine like terms. So 5x plus x gives you 6x. Then you have negative 2 and 12, which gives you 10 equals to 40. Then, since you're taking it to the other side, you do the opposite. So you have to do minus 10 to both sides. So you end up with 6x equals to 30. Then, oh, sorry, equals to 30. Then you solve for x, but the question is what is PQ and QR? So whatever you get for x, you have to plug it in into this number. 5 times the number minus 2, x times the number x plus the number plus 12. Okay. All right. Number 2. The same thing. One thing you guys need to remember, the order of my question might not be the same as the order of the question you guys going to be seeing, but the problems are the same. Again, Wx z is given to be 7x minus 4. Zxy is 5x minus 8 plus 8, I'm sorry. And here you have Wxy, Wxy, which is the whole thing, is given to be 160. So if they give you the whole thing, you got to take the two small angles, in this case the blue one, which is 7x minus 4, plus the red one, which is 5x plus 8, equals to the black one, which is 160 degree. Then again, you combine like terms, they are on the same side. You combine the numbers that are on the same side. 7x plus 5x gives you 12x. Then you have negative 4 plus 8 gives you plus 4 equals to 160. Then you minus 4 from both sides and you'll be able to solve it. Okay, so what I'm doing is just helping you to solve the problem. Number 3, UT is 31.6. What is US? So the picture is on the next page. UT from here to here is given to be 31.6. The question is, what is US? What is this? And since you know this piece is congruent to this, all you have to do, take the 31.6 and divide it by 2 and get the answer. Number 4, this is J is the midpoint. So knowing J is the midpoint is the keyword. This is the keyword, midpoint. Every time you hear midpoint or bisector, you know it's going to cut the angle into 2 equal parts. So now knowing that J is the midpoint, right here is the midpoint, that means this piece here is going to equal to this. So what you have to do, 9x minus 2 equals 4x plus 13. The only way you set it equal to each other if you know they are midpoint or if it says bisector. Since both are in different side of the equal sign, you gotta do the opposite. So I have to do minus 4x from both sides, which gives me 5x minus 2 equals to 13. Then I have to do plus 2 5x equals to 15, then x will give you 3, right? You divide it by 5, by 5, by 5. X is going to be 3. But the question is, what are hj, hk, and hk? So hj, you have to plug in the 3 here, so you have to do 9 times 3 minus 2, 4 times 3 plus 13, then find the whole thing, what that's going to equal to. Number 5, what are two other names for angle 2? And the question is on the other side. Angle 2 is this angle. That means the vertex is R. So anything you're using has to have R in the middle. Okay, R needs to be in the middle of the letters. Okay, so make sure you pick the one that has R in the middle. All right, number 6. All right, the keyword here is this one, complementary angle. Okay, so if you remember what complementary is 90 degree. That means when you combine those two angles, which is DFG and JKL, so they're going to have to add up to a 90-degree angle, not individually combine. Okay, a lot of you just take one of them, make it equal to 90, but if it says DFG and JKL are complementary, when you combine these two angles, it's going to give you a 90-degree angle, and that's what you have to do. So you have not 6, 2x plus 4 equals to 90. So of course minus 4 from both sides, and you just go ahead and solve it. And the question is find the measure of each angle. So don't just solve it for x. I think when you do that, you get 2x equals to 86, and x gives you 43. So don't pick one of the two. Okay, that's not true. X is 43, but not DFG. DFG is 43 plus 5. JKL is 43 minus 1. So make sure you're plugging it into the equation. Um, Number 7. So the question starts here, but it's on the pictures on the next page. BOC is 27 and AOC is 61. So BOC, which is this angle here, is 27, and AOC, which is this angle here, is 61 degrees. So you see the big one is 61, and the blue one, the small piece, is 27. So to find, they want you to solve for AOB, which is the green one here. They want to know what this is. So to find the green one, you have to say the whole thing, which is 61 minus 27, gives you what you would find for what the solution is for the green one. Okay. All right, number 8. I know I'm going too fast because I don't want this review to be too long. So in this case, the keyword is supplementary angle. A and B, that means A plus B equals to supplementary. Supplementary is 180 degree. And angle A is given to be 3x plus angle B is x equals to 180 degree. That's the first thing you have to do. Don't try to find two angles that add up to 180 and eliminate doing the work. Just do the work. 4x equals to 180. You divide both sides by 4. X is going to give you 45. Okay. The question is what's the measure of angle A and angle B? Angle A is 3x, so you have to do 3 times 45. Okay, angle B is just 45. So you know it's not going to be A or it's not going to be C. So you have two choices. But since the question is asking what is A first, you have to pick the one that has A as the answer. All right, which is the midpoint of the segment joining? Midpoint formula, please remember this. It will not be given to you. X1 plus X2 divided by 2, Y1 plus Y2 divided by 2. So you take the x's, you add them, divided by 2. So I'll say 12 plus negative 5 divided by 2, and then 2 plus negative 7 divided by 2. Do the work. So 12 plus negative 5 is going to give you positive 7 divided by 2. 2 plus negative 7 is going to give you negative 5 divided by 2. So you pick whichever one has the same decimal as this one. Okay. Number 10 is on the next page. All right. The coordinate of the midpoint of A and B are. So it's the same thing as this problem here, um, 9. Number 9 we just did. The only difference is this one is given in terms of coordinates. They gave you the coordinates like this. So for this part, they just gave you the graph. But the good thing is they also put the coordinates here. So I have B, 3 and 8, and A is negative 7 and 2. So all I have to do is 3 plus negative 7 divided by 2, or vice versa. I can do negative 7 plus 3, so it works. Then 8 plus 2 divided by 2, since the question is asking for the midpoint. Okay. So make sure you pay attention to that one. And you'll see two questions just like this on your test. Number 11 is talking about the distance between 2 points. Distance, you have to use the distance formula, or those of you who like to use the Pythagorean theorem, you have to plot those 2 points and do it. Since it's going to be hard for me to plot it, I'm just going to use my distance formula, which is x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. But those of you who've been using the graph, make sure you are using the graph to do the Pythagorean theorem. So this is x1, y1, x2, y2. And when you're subtracting, you are going to subtract x2 minus x1. So in this case, x2 is labeled as 3 minus negative 2 squared plus y2 is 8 minus negative 4 squared. If you have the graphing calculator, you can put this equation just like this. Make sure you use the first parenthesis, second, close it. Make sure you put minus negative, because this is minus and this is negative, and you get the answer. If not, then just do the steps together. Number 12 is talking about the line segment has an endpoint at 3 and 1. If the midpoint of the line is 36, 6 and negative 2, what are the coordinates of the other endpoints? See, this is the key word. You're looking for the other endpoint. Okay, so this is the one we can do double subtract, or you can graph it. Since a lot of you like double subtract, I'm going to do it that way. One thing you need to remember, we are doubling the midpoint. Okay, you have to double the midpoint and subtract the other number. So 6, my midpoint is 6 and negative 2. When I double it, meaning when I times it by 2, 6 times 2 is going to give me 12, and negative 2 times 2 is going to give me negative 4. So that's going to be my new midpoint after I double it. Then I have to subtract 3 and 2 from it. So what I usually do is to avoid the confusion, I'll say, okay, 12 minus whatever this number is, which is 3, is my first number, comma. Then I'll do negative 4 minus 2. Okay, so 12 minus 3 gives you 9. And negative 2 minus 2, negative 4 minus 2 gives you negative 6. So your other midpoint would be, your other endpoint, I'm sorry, would be 9 and negative 6. So you'll pick D as your answer. All right, the endpoint of R and S are given, which is the coordinate of the midpoint. So the same thing here, endpoints are given, you're looking for the midpoint. So you got to do x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. That would be the answer. All right, 14. Sorry. if the coordinate of negative 4, if the coordinate of A are negative 3, 3, 4, and B are 3 and 2, what are the distance? So again, you're talking about distance. Those of you who likes to graph it, go ahead and graph it, and you guys can find it by using A squared, B squared, C squared. So one point would be negative 3 and 4. The other point would be 3 and 2. So you have to find this distance. I believe it's going to be from negative 3 to positive 3 is going to be 6. And this is from 2 to 4 is going to be 2. So I think it's 2 squared plus. So if you do it that way, I think this is what you guys going to get equals to c squared. 4 plus 36 gives you c squared. So this is the square root of 40 equals to 6. So one thing you need to remember, 40 is not the answer. The square root of 40 is the answer. So do not pick this one and don't round it to the nearest. All right, so don't use 6 either because it's closer to 6, but it's not 6. So make sure you don't use that. So you have to pick which either B or D. So put this in a calculator, put this in a calculator and see which one matches. If this doesn't match, try the next number. All right, number 15, the midpoint of um, ln is given, one endpoint. So this is also another endpoint question. So you do double subtract. And again, you are doubling the midpoint. So don't forget, you're doubling the midpoint and subtracting the other. So when I double this, I would get 0 times 2 is just 0. 3 times 2 is 6. So that's my double. Then I'm going to subtract this number from it. So what I will do is 0 minus the negative 8. So be careful about this double negative. That's going to be my x coordinate. Then for 6 minus negative 1. So I'll do 6 minus negative 1. Okay, so this would end up being plus, which gives you 8. And this end up being plus, which gives you 7. So that's the one you guys have to pick. All right, so that's the answer. So that was 15, right? Yeah, that was 15. Okay, 16. The question is which is the distance between A and B. So this one is given to you in a graph. So you have a choice to find the coordinate of A, the coordinate of B, and use the distance formula if you want to, that's fine. But since I already have a graph, I prefer doing my Pythagorean theorem, which is A squared, B squared. So when you create your right angle, you want to draw a vertical line going down from here, connecting to A. Okay, so that's going to be my right triangle. To count, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So horizontal distance is 9, and the vertical distance is from negative 5 all the way to positive 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. You can 12 is going to be my B. So I can use 9 squared plus 12 squared equals to C squared. Okay, so remember at the end you got to do the square root of whatever you find to make it equal to C. Don't just use the last number you get. Make sure you always put it in a square root. Um, number 17 is find the distance between, if necessary, round to the nearest tenth. So this is again distance formula, so I can use the distance formula. So I'll do x2 minus x1 squared plus labeling x1, y1, x2, y2. That's how I got 4 minus 3. Then I'll do negative 6 minus 4 squared. Then you can solve it. Okay. All right. So then the same thing with this one. The question is find the length. It's down here. When they ask you for the length, it's the same thing as distance. You can use the distance formula or use Pythagorean theorem. One thing you need to know is this is always going to be your C. ST would be the C. So create a right triangle so that it connects the endpoint of the two. So if you can't, so that's what you have to do. I would connect from T all the way down and from S all the way down. Wherever the two intersect, that's going to be where the 90-degree angle. Then I will count um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's my 8. And then a vertical distance 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So this would be 17. So you're actually connecting the 8 with negative 9, and that's just 17 difference. So you have to do 8 squared plus 17 squared equals to c squared. Then you just solve it. Okay. Number 19. What is the distance between the 2 points? So this is still the same thing. Use the distance formula to find it. If the coordinate of A and B are given, the distance from, this is a repeat question. I think it was number 14 or 15. So just remember. So this is going to help you to pass your test. I hope this is helpful. Have a great day.